I got a message saying my husband was cheating. It was from his ex's best friend. I thought my marriage was perfect, until a message from his ex's best friend shattered everything. And the proof she sent almost made me believe her. I'm 26, and my husband, Mark, is 28. We've been together for 6 years, married for 2. If you asked anyone who knows us, they'd tell you we're the kind of couple that rarely fights. We're that annoyingly calm pair who finish each other's sentences and never go to bed angry. Before me, Mark lived 4 states away. We met at a work course when I was still new to my job. He was the quiet, steady type, the kind of guy who listened more than he spoke. But when he did talk, it meant something. We hit it off right away, and kept in touch long after that course ended. Daily texts, phone calls, shared jokes that made the distance feel shorter than it really was. A year later, he surprised me with a message that said, "I'm transferring to your city." He actually moved across the country to be with me. That's how our story started, built on effort and love that didn't need grand gestures to prove it was real. We've built a quiet, happy life since then. I work in marketing, he's in logistics. We have our little routines, morning coffee, late-night movie marathons, spontaneous drives just to chase sunsets. I trusted him completely. So when that message appeared, the one accusing him of cheating, it felt like someone had reached into my chest and twisted my heart. But to understand why that message hit me so hard, you need to know a little about Charlene. Charlene was Mark's ex. They dated for 2 years before she broke things off. From what Mark told me, she was dramatic, controlling, and deeply jealous. One of those people who couldn't let go, even after ending things. When Mark and I first started dating, she reached out to him out of nowhere, accusing me of hacking her social media accounts. I remember how stunned I was. I could barely figure out how to update my phone, let alone hack someone's Instagram. But instead of hiding or getting defensive, I handed every device I owned to Mark. "Check them," I said. "You'll see I didn't do anything." He did. There was nothing suspicious. No apps, no weird logins, nothing. He texted her back saying, "Hey, that's not her. She has no reason to do that." We thought that was the end of it. But a few days later, Mark's phone started blowing up. Strange texts, calls from random numbers, even messages filled with insults. It turned out Charlene had posted his number online, claiming he was stalking her. It was ugly, and it hurt him deeply. But he handled it with grace, changed his number, moved on. And for the next 5 years, there wasn't a single word from her. Not one. By then, life had settled into something beautiful. We'd just bought our first condo together, signed the papers only 3 days before all this happened. It should have been one of the happiest weeks of our lives. But happiness has a way of attracting shadows from the past. That's when Mark's sister had her baby, and we decided to drive down to his hometown. The same small town where Charlene still lived. At first, everything felt normal. Mark was so excited to see his family again. We visited old friends, helped his sister with her newborn, and even planned a small family dinner. It was supposed to be a peaceful visit, but the universe had other plans. At first, that week back in Mark's hometown felt like a little reunion with our past. His parents welcomed us with open arms, and I loved seeing him light up as he reconnected with old friends. For a while, everything was warm, easy, and familiar. Then the small, strange things began. 2 days into the trip, I started getting friend requests from girls I didn't know, each from this same small town. Their bios mentioned local schools and hangouts. None of them had Mark listed as a mutual friend. I showed him one evening. "Do you know any of these people?" I asked, holding up my phone. He glanced, brow furrowing. "That one looks vaguely familiar, maybe from high school, but I don't really know them." I shrugged it off and deleted the requests. Still, something about it itched at the back of my mind. The next night, it happened. A message request on Instagram. From another girl I didn't recognize. Her first line made my stomach tighten. "Hey, I know your husband from childhood. He's been messaging me on Tinder." She sent screenshots. There it was. Mark's name, his face, a blue verification check. The messages were simple but suggestive. "Hey, how are you? Remember me?" Not much, just visiting my sister. My hands went cold. When I showed Mark, he looked genuinely shocked. Without hesitation, he unlocked his phone and handed it to me. "Go ahead," he said quietly. "Check everything." I did. I combed through every app, message, and photo. No Tinder, no hidden folders, no secret accounts. Even his App Store history showed no record of a download. He reinstalled Tinder in front of me, entered his number to check. No account was linked. Still, the screenshots bothered me. The photo on the fake profile wasn't one Mark would ever use. It was an old picture from his brother's Facebook. A goofy photo where he wasn't even smiling, one he'd begged his brother to delete years ago. And the person who still had access to that Facebook? Charlene, the girl who messaged me, one of Charlene's best friends. It all felt too precise to be coincidence. But what really unsettled me were the timestamps on the messages. They lined up almost perfectly with the 2 brief moments that day when I hadn't been with Mark, when I'd gone to the grocery store and when he'd stepped into the bathroom at his sister's house. It was like someone wanted me to see a pattern, to feel that sting of doubt. That night, I lay awake listening to the soft hum of the ceiling fan. My mind ran in circles. Could someone fake this so convincingly? Or was there a truth I didn't want to see? The next morning, Mark suggested we confront it. "If this is fake," he said, "she's counting on us to stay quiet. She wants the drama." So I messaged the girl back. That's strange because Mark actually didn't have his phone for a few days after he dropped it. Her reply was instant and awkward. "Oh, welcome." Then she blocked me, and just like that, the entire account disappeared. We sat there staring at the screen, stunned by the sudden silence. The rest of the trip felt heavy. I kept glancing at Mark's face, searching for something. Guilt, fear, anything that could explain what had just happened. But there was nothing there. Just the same man I'd loved for 6 years. The same steady calm. When we finally got back home, I couldn't shake the unease. It wasn't about believing or not believing him anymore. It was about realizing how fragile truth could look when someone else decided to twist it. The air between us felt different after that night. Not cold, just heavy. Both of us were afraid to breathe too loud and break the fragile peace we were holding on to. We didn't argue. We didn't accuse. But silence has a way of speaking louder than words. For the next few days, Mark was quieter than usual. He'd reach for my hand, but sometimes I'd pull away without meaning to. I wanted to trust him. I did trust him. But part of me couldn't stop replaying those screenshots in my head. Every time my phone buzzed, my chest tightened. I half expected another message, another accusation, but none came. Then, one evening, something shifted. We were at his sister's house helping her tidy up after dinner when I overheard one of her friends talking quietly in the next room. "I saw Charlene the other day," she whispered. She still talks about Mark sometimes. You can tell she never really got over him. It hit me like a punch to the stomach. Suddenly, all the pieces made sense. The timing, the fake Tinder, the girl's awkward reaction when I called her bluff. It was Charlene. It had to be. That night, after everyone went to bed, I sat out on the back porch. The air was thick with the scent of summer rain. Mark came out a few minutes later, 2 mugs of tea in hand. He didn't say anything at first. He just sat beside me, staring at the dark horizon. Finally, I whispered, "She's still not over you." He sighed, setting his mug down. I figured. I just didn't think she'd ever go this far. I turned to him, my voice shaking. "Why us? Why now?" He looked at me, really looked, and said quietly, "Because we're happy." Some people can't stand to see that. For the first time that week, I felt tears in my eyes, not because of the message, but because I realized how close we'd come to letting someone else's bitterness break something beautiful. He reached for my hand and held it tightly. "I can't control what she does," he said softly. "But I can promise you, none of it changes how I feel about you." And in that moment, I believed him. Not because of the words, but because of the calm certainty in his eyes. We made a decision that night. No more feeding the drama. We'd block every connection to Charlene, every small-town gossip who tried to pull us back into the mess. We weren't going to fight her. We were going to move forward. Together. When we finally drove back home, it felt like closing a long, painful chapter. The tires hummed against the highway, the sun setting behind us, and with every mile, that small-town tension seemed to fade away. By the time we pulled into our new condo's parking lot, I felt lighter. Boxes still lined the walls, and our furniture hadn't even arrived yet. But it already felt like peace lived there. That night, we sat on the floor eating takeout straight from the containers. Just the 2 of us, surrounded by half-open boxes and soft laughter. Mark looked at me with that quiet smile of his and said, "I was too. Scared of what?" I asked. "That someone could make you doubt me, even for a second." His voice cracked just slightly, and it broke my heart a little. I took his hand and squeezed it. "It wasn't doubt in you," I said. "It was doubt in the world." in how easily someone can twist what's true. We sat there in silence for a while, listening to the faint hum of the city outside. And in that quiet, something inside me settled. It wasn't the kind of ending where you find perfect answers or catch the villain red-handed. It was quieter than that, a kind of understanding that truth doesn't need to shout to be real. Over the next few weeks, we unpacked our life together. We painted the walls a soft beige, filled the kitchen with the smell of coffee and cinnamon, and began building our new rhythm again. And slowly, the fear faded. The screenshots stopped haunting me. The doubt melted into something else, gratitude, because I realized how easily we could have let a stranger's lies destroy us. But we didn't. We chose to trust the years we'd built together instead of a few words on a screen. We chose love over fear. Every once in a while, I still think about Charlene. Not with anger anymore, but with pity. She's still stuck in the same place we left her, chasing ghosts of something that ended long ago. We've moved on. We have a home filled with warmth, laughter, and trust that's been tested, and proven stronger than lies. And that, I've learned, is the truest kind of love. Because love isn't about the absence of doubt. It's about what you do when the world tries to plant it in your heart. This whole experience taught me something I'll never forget. Trust doesn't mean you never question. It means you always seek truth together. If someone tries to tear down what you've built, take a breath. Look at what's real. Look at who's still standing beside you. Because when your love is honest, even the strongest lies can't break it. Would you have believed the screenshots or trusted your partner's word? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more real-life stories like this one.